Hello, everyone on Artful Impact. Welcome to the 6th videocast. Today we have Eric Pascarelli. He's all the way from Carmel, Indiana, in the USA. He's a budding independent filmmaker and has made a feature film called Chasing Rabbits. Is that correct?
Yes. I've made now 2 features. One is Chasing Rabbits, and then I also just did a documentary about my eating habits.
Oh, wow. We're going to delve into that in a moment. But
yeah,
tell me, first off, how did you get into filmmaking? When did it all start?
I think I was always into show business to some degree. And then in high school, in my video class, we were given like video cameras to shoot and edit a project. And it just worked. I just really enjoyed editing and shooting and I haven't really stopped since then.
And that was in school. So you're saying you kind of just kept on doing lots of little projects. Is that correct? Short films, tests, or how did it keep on going?
Yeah, so then I kept doing like video contests. And then I won a few video contests. And I even won my first iPad through a video contest. And one time I was able to get a flight to Los Angeles and be in a commercial, but I turned it down and took the cash instead. But because I was in college and needed more money. Yeah, I just did a ton of videos in high school and college, just kind of for fun and for projects. And yeah, anytime I can do something with video, I did.
Now, for you, you're based out in Carmel, in Indiana. Can you tell us a little bit about, is there a film industry? Is there other independent filmmakers? Are there people like you? Are you the only one sort of gung-ho standing out in that region? Tell us.
In the Indiana area, there's definitely some filmmakers. It's not a large industry. We just got kind of tax credits recently, so that's really nice. I think they're trying to build up the industry a little bit here. We have a few big film festivals in Indiana, like the Heartland Film Festival and like Indie Film Fest, and those are local to here. Yeah, there's some filmmakers. There's nothing too big going on here. You have probably bigger stuff in Chicago.
Now, for you, have you ever thought of moving away from that area, or you're sort of committed to continually making films in the place that you live, you grew up? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't really have much interest in chasing to become to be in the industry too much. I really like kind of what I have going here. Things are just it's a lot cheaper to do everything here. But yeah, it's kind of more my speed to just kind of do everything here a little bit. I haven't thought too much about leaving.
That's great. Okay, now moving on to Chasing Rabbits. That's one of your feature films that you've made. What year, how did that come about?
So, I am a corporate videographer, and I never thought I could make a movie by myself. I never really had I just assumed I couldn't direct a movie. And then during the quarantine times in 2020, I read a book by Barry Sonnenfeld, who he directed all the Men in Black movies, Wild Wild West, a lot of different popular things. And in his book, he reminded me a lot of myself, and he basically made me feel like, oh, yeah, I could maybe direct a movie. And so then I wrote a script, and then I kind of collaborated with another script writer on like the final script. And I just kind of reached out to a bunch of local talent in Indiana. And we shot it. We only did it over like 9 days. Yeah, 9 days in the summer of 2021. And yeah, everything went very smoothly. And I kind of just brought everything I had from my corporate video days to directing this. And I kind of treated it as like just a bunch of different corporate shoots I had almost. So yeah, it was good. And then I did all of the post-production by myself also, and pre-production. So I kept the budget very low. And it was a pretty nice process.
That's great. So for you, you're pretty much an all-rounder. Like you can see the idea, and then on top of that, you went and shot it, and then you did post-production. Like for you, what would you say during the time? Like it's such an ambitious idea. Like, and as you got into it, what were some of the major challenges that you found that next time around when you make more films, you kind of will, take more care in that?
So on set, it was just me, and I had a sound, like an on-location sound mixer person, and I had like a producer with me who helped. But I think it would be nice to have someone there, like a script supervisor, because I didn't memorize. I wear myself pretty thin on set because I'm doing so many things. I'm doing all of the lighting and doing all the director of photography work. So it would be nice if someone was reading the script next to me and making sure that everything was going to plan. Because for the most part, it all worked out. But like there are times when an actor would be like, oh, what's my line or something? And I would say, I don't know. And it's not very professional for me to be like, I don't know what the script says. But yeah, and I think when you write a script, I think it's important also to have in mind where exactly you're going to shoot it. If you're an indie like director, because after I wrote the script, I then started looking for locations, and then everything started to change when I realized, oh, the location's a lot different than I imagined it. And then you had to kind of rewrite some stuff. It's tricky. And also I think food is something, it's very important to feed everyone. But when I am working, my body kind of shuts off, and I don't require food like the whole day. But and I just kind of want to do everything and go home. And I forget oh no, we need to stop and eat. So I feel like those are all things that I need to be better at.
So you shot it in 9 days, and then how long did it take for you for post-production, because you were editing it by yourself and so forth?
Yeah, so I really enjoy editing, especially stuff like this. So when you're excited, you work a lot faster. And I don't do a whole bunch of takes of stuff because I kind of edit the movie as I shoot it in my head. So I kind of know I don't need to shoot a bunch of coverage of every scene because I already know oh, there's no point. I know exactly what's going to end up. So editing was a lot easier. I think we finished shooting in August, and the premiere of the movie was in November. So I guess 3 months overall of editing, color grading, music stuff. Yeah, and I had probably a first draft done very quickly, and then you start showing it to people, and then they say, oh, cut this out, and then you're always I was always finding little mistakes. I'd be sitting there watching it, and I was like, oh, there's some weird sound here, now I have to fix that sound, or something is off here. So yeah, it's hard to like say, oh, I'm done.
Now, with Chasing Rabbits, how do you describe your film? Like, for people who don't know your film, like, how would you describe what kind of genre, or what would they be anticipating when they watch it?
So it's kind of just a drama, a little bit of a mystery. But yeah, it's basically just a lady is trying to find her parents who joined a cult, basically. So she goes undercover and learns about the cult and tries to find her parents. So that's kind of the idea. I like Twilight Zone stuff and just stuff that has a little bit of a mystery intrigue. And in the quarantine days, there's a lot of cult documentaries out there in general, like on Netflix and stuff like that. That was pretty popular. And so I took some inspiration from some of that stuff.
That's great. So after you done the filming and then you did post-production within like 3 months, premiere, and in terms of distribution, like what was your sort of like navigation in terms of that area?
So it's like, yes, I had some distributors reach out to me, but it's like you have to be careful with all of that stuff in terms of, like, yes, my movie won. Leanne Johnson, the main actor, she won Best Actress at a few film festivals. So I think that helped get some more eyeballs interested. And, you know, I had a few random distributors reach out to me, but I kind of like the idea of owning my own movie. So I looked into it and saw a lot of people are using a new thing called Film Hub. And that's basically you submit the movie, you own the movie, like you own all the rights to your own movie, but they kind of shop it around for you and it'll get selected at different streaming platforms. And that's kind of what happened. So I did that, and it's streaming free on Tubi, which is, I think, the world's largest free like movie streaming platform. It's streaming on Amazon, Apple.
Oh, wow. It's great.
Yeah. So it's streaming in like, I feel like 15 different platforms, some I've never heard of before. But yeah, so I'm really happy with the Film Hub experiment sort of thing. And yeah, and now I know a little bit moving forward, like, okay, if I want eyeballs on my movie, what to kind of look for marketing purposes.
So for you, when you decided to go, you know what, I'm not going to go to distribution, like those typical traditional avenues, and then going on to this platform, like, was it quite difficult to, you know, look into it, all the technicalities, all the deliverables? Like, what was your experience with that?
No, because I'm a video editor anyways, I am good at all that nerdy deliverable stuff, you know? And I do a lot of Photoshop stuff with my movie for marketing. So I kind of, yeah, because they ask for a lot of different things when you submit your movie, a lot of different sizes of marketing materials and just posters, all of these things. And luckily I have the ability to do a lot of those things by myself. But yeah, I think the more you can kind of teach yourself, the better, because I wasn't at the mercy of anyone ever. I wasn't waiting for someone to do stuff for me. Like, as soon as I needed to submit something to Film Hub, I was able to do everything by myself, you know, very fast. Like, you know, the least amount of people you have to depend on to do things, the faster things will go. But yeah, then once it's on Film Hub, you can spend money and advertise on like Facebook, things of that nature, Reddit, YouTube, and yeah, you can put together your own marketing campaign and send everyone to Tubi, because I think Tubi probably pays the most out of all of them. But a lot of people don't know what Tubi is still. I feel like, even though it's huge.
People still go, oh, Tubi's like really low tier, and then everyone's on Netflix. But then you think that Netflix don't pay you. There's, in terms of like the business wise, it's not as of a return. Whereas Tubi's doing much.
And you're not going to get on Netflix unless Netflix, like at this point, unless Netflix like already knew about the project and like paid you basically to do the project. I feel like the huge players like that, or Hulu, I feel like it's very difficult to get on those platforms. So I think you have to think realistically of like, okay, odds are you'll end up on, if it passes quality tests and like stuff like that, then you'll hopefully end up on a Tubi, which is a great platform, or Amazon, and I think those are great platforms already. But it's I never heard of Tubi really before, but I think they had some Super Bowl commercials this year maybe, and I think that kind of boosted things a lot for them. Now people know what it is a lot more. But yeah, it's a good platform.
That's great. So what's next for you? Are you continuing on to more filmmaking? You did mention a documentary. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I have, it's technically an eating disorder called ARFID, ARFID. And it's basically where I eat like, I have a very limited diet. I eat kind of like a 5-year-old. I eat, cheese pizza, French fries, not a whole bunch of foods, and, I had my first vegetable at the age of 30.
Wow.
And so it's like a sensory thing. It's different for a lot of people though. But anyways, I was thinking like, okay, everyone thought that I was a very picky eater my whole life and kind of looked down at me. And I know there are millions of other people like me out there who aren't aware that it's an eating disorder. And I want to raise awareness for it. So I made a documentary called Not Just a Picky Eater. And that was, again, all by myself. It was a lot easier to do than a fiction film because it was easy to just shoot interviews, But one thing that does stink is that, like, I wanted to get rights to different shows, get licensing rights to show clips of stuff. But that stuff is just so expensive that I couldn't really do that. It would be like $1,000 per show that I was going to show. And it's like, this is ridiculous. So, but it's so far just premiered a month ago, and it won in Indiana at a film festival here, Best Documentary. Yes. So that was very exciting. And you can see my award a little bit of my shoulder back there somewhere, Best of Documentary. So we'll see. Hopefully by the end of the year, it'll also be on Tubi and Amazon, because I just really want to raise awareness for people like me. And so, I've done 2 movies in like 2 years. So I have to figure out if I want to spend a bunch of money and make a 3rd movie in 3 years. So we'll see.
Have you found a way to make it sustainable for you? Because now that you've done like 2 movies, and like, how do I, if I want to continue this, are you now figuring out some sort of particular business model that you can kind of lean on to finance your works?
A little bit. So, a lot of people do Kickstarters for their movies and do crowdfunding, and that seems to work for some people. I don't really want to do that, really. I kind of just self-fund my own movies. But in terms of getting money back, my hope is I'm learning now more so what makes money. Like, you need to do a movie that has a built-in audience already. I feel like, you know, like Chasing Rabbits, I did, but it's kind of just like a drama mystery. It doesn't, you know, have like a huge built-in audience of people who are like, you know, interested in seeing it necessarily. So my hope is my next movie will be something that could make money on a streamer, based on just, you need to look to see what is popular on these platforms. And really a lot of these platforms, I feel like they like certain genres, and, you know, like horror is a very big thing. So
horror is always doing really well, as I've noticed.
Yeah. Because like the fans of horror are so good that they are like, I want to see every horror movie. So I think on Tubi, you know, I think if I do a horror movie that is of my taste, then I think it could potentially, if I can break even on a movie, then I think that would be awesome. But yeah, another thing is if you have like a C-list or D-list celebrity in your movie, that will raise a lot of awareness and that will get a lot of eyeballs to your movie. But it's a little harder to do that in Indiana, where there's no celebrities really to speak of. So that's another thing to look at, is like, okay, can I get some sort of celebrity who would be interested in being in this? But that's tricky. That's tricky. But yeah, those are things I've learned, I feel like.
That's great. Now for you, do you have like a collective of like friends or film mates in your area that you get a chance to banter and share these thoughts and moving forward in the big vision, the big picture?
A little bit. I'm pretty secretive with my projects. I don't let people usually see them around me until it is on the big screen, because I don't like to ruin it. I think it's a really special thing for people to see a movie on the big screen. So like I tell people, just wait till the premiere or wait till it's at a film festival for you to see it. But yeah, we have like something called the Indiana Filmmakers Network, which is a place where I'll post to look for actors or look for anyone local for any sort of reason, or if I have a question about a filming location. So I feel like most states probably have a good Facebook group for that. So I suggest people try that, because there's a lot of people who want to be involved with the film industry. So that's helpful. But yeah, again, I don't know. I keep to myself for the most part. But yeah, I think it's important to have like some sort of close circle of people who you trust their opinions of, to send them your script or to send them a screener of the first draft of the movie. Because that's what I'll usually send a few people, just the first draft of my movie, get all of their feedback. And you have to be open to all of it too. I'm very open to criticism, and I change my movie a lot based on what people tell me usually, just because I know I'm not the only one who's going to watch this movie. It needs to be good for the masses, so you need to have a little separation from the project.
Right. I forgot to ask you, who are some of your film inspirations that you look forward to getting ideas and
I'm a big fan of Steven Spielberg. That's not a very original answer, because he's like the most famous person. But yeah, I think when I do anything, I try and just steal as many ideas as I can from my favorite movies or directors, because then when you steal stuff, when it goes through you onto the screen, it ends up a lot different than what you're stealing from in the first place. So I feel like you should look at your inspirations and just try and copy some things that you like a lot, and then it kind of comes out your own way. But But yeah, Spielberg or M. Night Shyamalan, he's really good at, creepy stuff. But yeah, I'm just a big fan of that stuff. So when I'm storyboarding, in my head, I'll be thinking of scenes from a lot of these movies. And but of course, when you're on set, things will change. You just have to be flexible and just do it, change things up a lot.
Great. Now, can you give us, for any emerging filmmakers, artists, creative artists out there, 3 tips that you would think that would help them to keep going or to know whether or not they're on the right track? 3 pieces of advice from you.
You need to do something. I mean, you need to go out and shoot something, be it maybe just a short film or something, because I just feel like time is limited and you should go out and just do something and see if you like it and just get it out of your system, because you don't want to look back in 10 years and be like, oh, I wish I did something then. You should, you can do a short, and if you enjoyed that process a lot, then from there you can kind of go on and plan for a feature or something like that. I also do think you need to write what you can really shoot logistically. A lot of people might write these huge action scenes and they are thinking these great sci-fi stories or things like that, but you can't really shoot those on an indie budget, really. So I feel like you need to realistically, when you're writing, think, okay, yeah, that's doable. I can shoot that. I can shoot this. You don't want to put your own obstacles in the way of your own movies, your own possibilities, because it's I just feel like you just need to think a lot when you're writing about how you can shoot each scene. Then another thing is, I think you just need to be really flexible and open to other people's opinions and suggestions on set. I think a lot of people are very set in their ways on set, and they don't want to listen to anyone's opinions and stuff like that. But I'm always very much collaborative, and I think because your opinion is the most important, but everyone still has an opinion, and there are very creative people around you, and everyone's opinion is valid. So yeah, I think if someone has an opinion, you can always just be like, okay, yeah, we can shoot that, and we'll see if we use it. Stuff like that. Because you don't want your actors to feel defeated at all. If an actor gives you an idea, don't just shoot it down, but try it out and maybe it's good. And the morale, gets a lot better because of it.
That's great. Now, thank you so much, Eric, for joining in with us at Artful Impact and telling us about, the ins and outs of filmmaking, as well as what you're up to next. And I do wish you all the best. And, within the coming years that you sort of take over the Indiana film industry and make that movement happen independently as well. So definitely looking forward to seeing more of your works then. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm excited to see more of your work as well.